Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for checking out my video. This video is going to be another video about sun gazing, and I'm going to explain a little bit about how it works and some of the possibilities with it. And something I haven't said before in my other sun gazing videos that I'd like to say now is like if you decide to try sun gazing, or if you're watching my videos, please really think about what you're doing and be careful, and know that what works for one person may not work for everyone, and really be careful and educate yourself about what you do before you try anything. And in saying that, let's get started. Let me show you something. Now in this video, I'd like to first start the video by giving you a little bit of background information so that you can follow the information that I talk about better. To give you more context, I guess some good sources or books to read to understand this is a book by Robert Becker. It's called The Body Electric, and it talks about or explains how the human body and also the bodies of other animals are electric semiconductors, and it goes into a really good detail about it, and it explains it and makes the concept more real. And the book is not that difficult to read. It was not that difficult to follow. So it's a book that I recommend. I'll drop a link below if you'd like to check that book out. And another book that I think is a good reference is this book that I'm showing you right now. The name of it is Light Shaping Life, and it basically talks about how light works in creatures and humans and different organisms. And in this book, it talks a little bit about regeneration. If you can see the title of this here, this section or this unit talks about regeneration, and it briefly talks about some of Robert Becker's work with regeneration and the body being an electric semiconductor. And in Robert Becker's book, he talks about experiments with different animals, especially lizards, because they have very good regenerative abilities. So I guess they use that to study. And sorry about presenting or showing you animal experimentation. I'm against that, but it was part of the book, so that's what I'm showing you. So this is all I have to say about this, and now I'll give you my thoughts about sun gazing and how it ties into energizing the human body, and how it ties into regeneration in the human body, specifically regeneration in our brains. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, how y'all doing out there? I'm outside. It's solar noon. It's like January 11th, 2018. And I'm in cold Korea, but still a beautiful place. And right now it's about -9 degrees Celsius, or like 15 degrees Fahrenheit right now, but that doesn't stop me from getting all of this divine energy and information, because in the bigger picture, the bigger scheme of things, I think that's more important. All right, so I've already given you like a little bit of background information for what I'm about to talk about in this video. And the things that I'll cover in this video are related to sun gazing. Well, they're all about sun gazing, but the focus of this video will be how sun gazing energizes the entire body through our nervous system, and also how sun gazing can repair places in our body that is very dense in nervous system. And for human beings, that's the brain, the heart, and the nervous system. But I'm going to focus mostly on the brain. Okay, so I did a previous video, and the name of it was Eyeball Energetics, and it basically talked about like the energy dynamics of the eyeball. It talked about like different components of the eye and how they pull in energy to our bodies. Like, you know, the eyes are like a light trapping machine. It pulls in huge amounts of light, and it supplies our bodies with lots of our energy and information that we get from our environments, especially sunlight. Okay, so I'll get right to it. After the sunlight goes through our eye and interacts with the different components, different parts of our eyes, that allows us to utilize this light. It sends the light throughout, you know, our brains and all throughout our bodies, throughout our nervous system. And if you remember what I just showed you previously, the human body is a electric semiconductor. You know, there's three well-known types of electric conductors. One's metallic, one's ionic, and one's semiconductor. And unlike ionic and metallic, a semiconductor works better under cold conditions. Cold conditions actually helps it conduct current better, and it just works far better under those conditions. I guess you could think of it as like a battery. And if you're my age, when I was a kid, when I play my video games and the game starts to get slow and stops working, I would take my batteries out and put them in the refrigerator, and that would get some of the charge back. Well, we have some of these same qualities. The human body is an electric semiconductor, and we can recharge using the cold, which is, you know, one reason why I'm out freezing right now and recharging my body, because I understand that concept. But when we sun gaze, also with electric semiconduction, light, specifically sunlight, raises the energy of an electric semiconducting system. So when we sun gaze, huge amounts of light is received into our eyes, and the eyes are the start of our nervous system. And a huge amount of our nervous system is in the optic nerve. Optic nerve is a huge electric conducting pathway. It's probably the biggest, most important electric conducting pathway throughout our bodies, and it's the beginning of all of our nervous system throughout our bodies. So it goes from our eyes. The light is transformed into electricity, and it electrifies the body. This is kind of one way of how sun gazing electrifies us, because it goes through the eye. The light is transformed through the optic nerve. Optic nerve is the major and the first and foremost energy pathway that starts this process and energizes the body. And I just showed you before Dr. Robert Becker's book, well, the information from Dr. Robert Becker's book called The Electric Body, where he learned that the human body is an electromagnetic semiconductor, and it kind of follows those rules. And from the book, I showed you like some of his work. He looked at animals, like reptile animals that have the ability to regenerate. It can, like a lizard, it can grow its tail when it gets cut off. It can grow like new legs and new limbs. That's because they have a very complex nervous system throughout their bodies. So they can grow these things back. Usually they can grow these things back if it's not too damaged. That's because they have a very complex nervous system throughout their bodies. However, if we scale it to humans, human beings don't have as complex of a nervous system throughout our bodies. We have the majority of our complexity of our nervous system in our brains, our hearts, and our immune system, especially our brain. The brain is full of neurons and full of nerves. So that's likely where the majority of our regeneration takes place, in our brains, because it has a huge supply of a huge electrical system. So regeneration there is likely very, very possible. And keeping in mind with what I just mentioned about you being able to regenerate if you have an advanced nervous system, you could use sungazing, which the light from the sun raises the electricity of a semiconducting system. And from Robert Becker's work in the book The Body Electric, he learned that what regenerates the lizard's tail, its legs, when they get cut off, are DC current, direct current. And in order to use DC current, you need an advanced nervous system, which our brain has. And where can we get the DC current from? We get the DC current through the sunlight. Like the sunlight raises the energy of the electrical system or the nerves. So, in knowing that, I think it's a very, very good assumption to believe that through sungazing and getting lots of light through your eye, you can regenerate your neurons in your brain, because it's so complex. There's so many neurons. That's where we have the most of our neuronal complexity in our brains. And in knowing that, I think it's a very safe assumption to believe that we can build our nervous system through sungazing, or build our brain neurons and repair our brain neurons if we've had any type of trauma or damage to our brains. And it doesn't just stop at our brains. Like, we have nervous system throughout our entire bodies, so it benefits the whole system. But right now I'm focusing on just the brain because of what I just mentioned about the lizards and the complexity of their nervous system. And I scaled it to us. We have the complexity of our nervous system in our brains. All right, and here's my own personal experience with this. All right, I myself, I was a fighter. I was a boxer for about a decade, and I did this as an amateur for most of that time, and I did a couple years as a professional. And throughout this career, I loved it. I had lots of fun with it. Those were good times. But you know, it's a dangerous sport. And throughout this decade, I suffered two major concussions, and probably a few more, but I know two major concussions. And toward the end of my career, which I stopped about 7 years ago, the damage became apparent to me. Like I began to really realize it. And like the thing about like brain damage, or like things that affect your mental capacity, you are the last person to know about it, or the last person to realize it. Like everybody else sees it, everybody else knows it, but you don't. Like everybody sees the changes in you way before you see the changes. And when I say changes, I mean like your speech patterns, your movement patterns, your thought process. And toward the end of my career, when I quit the sport, I began to like see like all the damage that had been done, which you know, it began to affect my life and different aspects of my life, my personality, and you know, like a little bit of depression, things like this. So it put me on a journey to really like learn about how things work and repair myself, and you know, just see the bigger picture of things, see the bigger picture of life. And that led me on a path to just learn as much as I could about this stuff. And fast forward to later, a few years later, after I retired, after I quit doing the sport, I lived a regular life, a regular job, and you know, things were just, you know, kind of dull, and you know, I had trouble like just doing like simple things. And I did lots of research, and it led me to Sungazing. And I got like lots of good results from Sungazing as far as building my mental capacity and I guess improving myself and fixing myself. And like I got like a lot of benefits, and like I think now I can do a lot of things a lot better than I could do a few years back. It really helped me out a lot, which makes me believe what I believe about it being able to regenerate our nervous system, especially the mental aspects of it, because you know, our brain carries the highest capacity of our nervous system, and it gets the highest amount of currents. And you know, I think that Sungazing was a major part of it, and it has put me on a track to like really learn how all of this stuff works. And it has led me to look into other aspects of nature, because it doesn't just stop with the sun. The sun is just one component of it, but it's a major component of it. And you know, I've learned a lot, and it's been really amazing, and it's put me on a really good track to explore this even more. All right, so I'll stop right here with the video. I hope that you took something from it, and hopefully you share your experiences with me about this topic if you have something to add, because I would really love to know. I would really love for like your insight to I want to like get your insight so that it can trigger new thoughts and new ideas, so that I can really you know, keep exploring this, because like I see I don't really see any limits into stopping and finding out more and just taking this further. So I'll stop the video here. Thank you for checking me out. Please like, subscribe, comment. I love you. Love yourself. And thank you for sharing your world with me. And let's stay connected. There's a lot more coming in the future. I'll explore many more topics. Well, especially the topics that I've already explored. I'll keep adding to those and taking them further. So, I hope to see you in the future. Thank you for sharing this moment with me, and hopefully I see you next time. I love you. Bye.